Namo Amitabha Buddha. So saw on the news that it seems in this world the suicide rate has risen after the lockdown. So this is a video about why no one in this world should commit suicide. Understand that it's a very difficult time perhaps for a lot of people in this world, but no matter what happened, we should not commit suicide. And why is that? So people commit suicide thinking that death is the end of everything. Death is the end of all sufferings. This is a really gross misunderstanding of the truth of death. So death is not the end of everything. And for people who commit suicide, in fact, they perhaps have the worst karma in the cycle of reincarnation. So what happens is we don't just have this physical body, we also have our consciousness. And for the people who commit suicide, when the consciousness left this body, they will go into a very long Bardo period. And for people who understand a little bit about Buddhism may have heard of the word Bardo. So the Bardo period is this intermediate state between this life and our next life before we have a new body. So the Bardo period is usually around 49 days for a lot of people, but this could also vary depending on the individual circumstance. So for some people, they don't have Bardo periods. For example, if you have very good karma and you can actually ascend to the heaven, or you have committed a lot of bad deeds and you fall into the hell, in that case you don't have Bardo period, you fall into the hell directly. Or for people who gain rebirth to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, there is also no Bardo period. We recite the name of Amitabha repeatedly, and even before the time of death, we will go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. So before our last breath, we've already be gone. But for people who commit suicide, they will have an extremely long Bardo period. It's really difficult for this soul's, this consciousness, to reincarnate into a new body. And what happens in the Bardo period is that every 7 days, they have to commit the same act again and again. So in the Bardo period, for instance, if someone burned themselves to death, then every 7 days after they die, they have to commit the same act again. Or if they jump off on a building, then again every 7 days they have to jump off on the buildings. So death, suicide, it's not the end of suffering. If anything, it creates much more suffering than the suffering when they were alive. So no matter what, please do not commit suicide. If you have any friend or family who have this kind of thoughts or have this kind of tendency, please let them know about the truth of death. I think if more people know that death is not the end of everything, then people will not commit suicide. If they know that they're actually gonna suffer even more after their suicide, then they will not commit suicide. And of course, it's a very difficult time for most people on earth, but you still have to face it, and the best is to always stay positive in a negative situation. It may be easy to say, but not so easy to do for a lot of people. What we can do is to recite the name of Amitabha Buddha repeatedly in our life. And if you really want to liberate from all sufferings in life, then the only way is to seek rebirth to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. In that way, we can liberate from samsara, we liberate from the entire cycle of reincarnation, and we will be reborn into Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, which is a land with no suffering and all bliss. And that is the complete, the thorough way that we can liberate from all sufferings in life. As long as we stay in the cycle of reincarnation, there will always be suffering. Death is suffering, separation with loved one is suffering, illness is suffering, etc. But once we gain rebirth to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, then there will be no suffering like such. So I hope more people will know about the truth of death, the truth of suicide, and how suicide cannot help us solve any problems, except it will create more problems. And hope more people will know how to recite the name of Amitabha Buddha to seek rebirth to the Pure Land. In that way, we can liberate from all sufferings in life. Namo Amitabha Buddha.